If you're a die-hard Browns fan and love breaking down the game like we do, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you'll never miss a blitz. Myles Garrett has never been one to hold back when it comes to speaking his truth. And this offseason, he's let it all out. Frustrations, hopes, and now disappointment. As the Cleveland Browns franchise cornerstone, Garrett has carried the weight of expectations for years, and this summer, those expectations nearly crushed the relationship between him and the front office. It started with trade rumors that felt more like inevitabilities. Garrett, weary of the team's direction and seeking clarity about their commitment to winning, reportedly requested a trade. That alone sent shockwaves through the NFL landscape. But as quickly as things escalated, they cooled. Cleveland stepped in with a massive contract extension, one that both reaffirmed Garrett's value and kept him in the orange and brown. Still, money doesn't solve everything, and certainly not the emotional gut punch of losing one of your closest teammates, Nick Chubb. For Garrett, Chubb wasn't just another player in the locker room. He was family, a quiet warrior who led by example, fought through adversity, and bled for the same cause. Their bond was forged over years of struggle and resilience in Cleveland. That's why during Tuesday's mandatory minicamp, Garrett didn't shy away from expressing his frustration about Chubb's departure. "I was lobbying hard to keep him here," he told reporters, his tone marked by disappointment. He even went as far as to make Chubb's retention a topic of discussion with general manager Andrew Berry in their offseason meetings. That level of personal involvement speaks volumes about what Chubb meant to this team, and more specifically, to Garrett's vision of what the Browns should be. But the front office had different plans. Cold, calculated, and perhaps necessary ones. The reality is Nick Chubb is 29, and in running back years, that's a number that comes with red flags. Even more concerning, Chubb's physical condition is nowhere near what it used to be. After suffering a brutal knee injury in 2023, followed by a broken foot late in 2024, he's been in and out of rehab instead of carving up defenses. In the 8 games he did play last season, Chubb mustered just 332 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns, averaging a mere 3.3 yards per carry. That's a far cry from the bruising, explosive back we once knew. As painful as it is to admit, those numbers scream decline, and the Browns weren't blind to that decline. In fact, they planned for it. During the 2025 NFL Draft, Cleveland used significant draft capital to select 2 running backs, sending a clear message: the team was moving on, not just hedging their bets. They were building a new identity. The writing was on the wall, and Chubb saw it too. He didn't waste time looking for validation or handouts. He signed with the Houston Texans, a team ready to compete and willing to offer him a fresh start. From a football standpoint, it made sense for everyone involved. But from a personal standpoint, for guys like Garrett, it stung. There's something deeply human about Garrett's reaction. It wasn't about X's and O's or depth charts. It was about loyalty, respect, and brotherhood. Chubb was more than a stat line. He was the heartbeat of the offense for years, a model of quiet consistency who never asked for the spotlight but always earned it. Watching a player like that walk out the door, especially when you pleaded for it not to happen, leaves a mark. And even though Garrett signed a long-term extension, there's no doubt this episode left him with lingering doubts about how the organization values its core leaders. Still, Garrett isn't naive. He understands the business side of the NFL. That doesn't mean he has to like it, but over time he'll come to terms with it. That's what pros do, especially ones as driven and self-aware as Myles Garrett. In fact, this may serve as further fuel for him. With his future secured in Cleveland, Garrett now has the platform and influence to help shape the next chapter of the Browns. But the message is clear. He wants that chapter to be built around loyalty and shared values, not just performance metrics and age curves. It's also worth noting that Chubb isn't walking into obscurity in Houston. He's joining a Texans team loaded with young talent and momentum. With C.J. Stroud under center and a dynamic offense being assembled, Chubb's role might be smaller, but it could also be more impactful. He won't be asked to carry the same load he once did in Cleveland. Instead, he'll be part of a rotation, giving him a chance to extend his career and contribute in meaningful ways. And for Browns fans, seeing him compete at a high level elsewhere may be bittersweet, but it also affirms just how valuable he still is in the right setting. Meanwhile, Back in Cleveland, the Browns are betting on youth. It's a gamble that could pay off long term, but it comes with short-term growing pains. The rookies will need time to adapt. The offense will need a new identity. And Garrett, he'll need to lead, not just by sacking quarterbacks, but by bridging the emotional gap left behind by Chubb. That's a tall order, but one he seems ready to embrace. If anything, this offseason has shown us a new side of Myles Garrett, a man willing to speak up, to challenge decisions, and to fight for what he believes in, even when it doesn't go his way. And maybe that's what leadership looks like. In today's NFL, not just blind allegiance to the team, but a willingness to question, to care deeply, and to wear your heart on your sleeve. Garrett's candor wasn't a sign of weakness, it was a sign of maturity. A signal to teammates, fans, and the front office that the Browns culture matters. That relationships matter. That if you want to build something lasting, it has to be about more than stats and contracts. It has to be about people, the right people, being given a chance to finish what they started. In the end, Myles Garrett stayed. Nick Chubb left. The Browns move forward. But the story doesn't end there. It evolves. And as this team steps into a new season with new faces and old expectations, the echoes of this offseason will still linger. Maybe it's a lesson for the hush front office. Maybe it's a challenge for the locker room. Or maybe it's just the reality of football in 2025. A cold business wrapped in human stories. Either way, Garrett's voice has been heard. Now we watch to see what Cleveland does with it. Enjoying the content so far? Smash that like button and drop your take in the comments. We want to hear what you think about the Browns this season. Alright, sports fans, hold on to your helmets because there's a juicy rumor shaking the NFL to its core. Word is the Cleveland Browns might be pulling off one of the most jaw-dropping quarterback trades of the offseason, possibly snagging none other than Tua Tagovailoa before the preseason even kicks off. Yes, you heard that right. The Browns could be making a blockbuster move to bring in the Miami Dolphins' young QB sensation, potentially shaking up the entire quarterback landscape. This isn't just some mid-tier swap. It's being whispered as a full-on seismic shift that could redefine Cleveland's offensive future. The buzz started with insiders hinting at intense negotiations behind closed doors, and now sources suggest that the Browns are on the brink of finalizing this massive trade deal well ahead of training camp. Could we be witnessing the dawn of a new era in Cleveland? The speculation is off the charts. Digging deeper, the Browns have been quietly scouting Tagovailoa for a while now, apparently believing he could be the missing piece in their quest for a championship. Despite some ups and downs in Miami, Tua's potential remains undeniable. His quick-release mobility and sharp football IQ have analysts buzzing. Meanwhile, Cleveland's current QB situation has been anything but stable, and the team's brass reportedly feels a shakeup is overdue. If the deal goes through, it might signal a vote of confidence not just in Tua, but in the Browns' front office's willingness to swing for the fences. Sources close to the negotiation table hint that the Browns are prepared to offer a significant package, possibly including draft picks and players, to make this blockbuster happen. The Dolphins, on the other hand, might be looking to rebuild or pivot, making this a classic win-win setup, at least on paper. But let's not forget, nothing is set in stone just yet. Rumors like these swirl in the NFL every offseason, and while this one feels more concrete than most, the league's complex trade rules and salary cap constraints could throw a wrench in the works. The Browns have to be careful. Moving for a high-profile QB like Tua comes with risks. How will the team chemistry change? What about Tua's health concerns? And of course, there's the question of whether this trade would put Cleveland ahead of their AFC North rivals, like the Ravens and Bengals. Still, the Browns management seems hell-bent on making a splash early, maybe trying to steal a march before other teams get their quarterback house in order. The intrigue surrounding this potential deal is making fans and analysts alike keep a close eye on every update. Meanwhile, Miami Dolphins fans are watching this rumor with mixed emotions. Tagovailoa was a first-round pick with high hopes, and despite some setbacks, he showed flashes of brilliance. Could this trade mark the end of Tua's Miami chapter? Or is it a strategic move by the Dolphins to clear cap space and reload with fresh talent? The whispers suggest that Miami might be considering a quarterback overhaul, which opens the door for younger players or even a draft day gamble. This kind of shakeup is classic NFL drama. One team's star could be another team's key to a Super Bowl run. Dolphins insiders hint that the organization is preparing for a big decision, and if the Browns' offer is tempting enough, it could trigger this blockbuster move. Of course, if the Browns land Tua, what does that mean for their existing quarterback situation? Baker Mayfield was once the face of Cleveland's franchise, but his time there has been rocky and filled with ups and downs. If the Browns really want to bring in Tagovailoa, it could mean a quick exit for Baker or a complicated QB competition. That would dominate training camp headlines. Some sources suggest that the Browns coaching staff is excited about the possibility of integrating Tua's skill set into their offensive schemes, which could revitalize the team's play calling and overall dynamics. Fans are buzzing with questions. Will Tua adapt quickly? Will the offense become more explosive? Could this be the spark Cleveland has been waiting for? Analysts are already speculating about how this trade might ripple through the league. If Cleveland secures Tua, it could trigger a domino effect. Other teams might start reevaluating their quarterback depth charts, and the draft strategy could shift dramatically. Plus, it raises the stakes in the AFC North, where every team is hungry for supremacy. The Browns might suddenly become the team to watch, especially if Tua lives up to the hype and blends well with Cleveland's talented receiving core. The rumor mill is buzzing with theories about potential offensive upgrades and how this move could influence the Browns' playoff hopes. Everyone wants to know, is this the game changer Cleveland desperately needs? Beyond the on-field implications, the trade also carries a significant emotional and cultural weight. Cleveland fans have been waiting years for a franchise quarterback who can lead them to glory, and the mere possibility of Tua stepping into that role has sparked hope and debate across fan communities. Social media is alight with discussions, memes, and even heated arguments about whether Tua is the right fit or if the Browns should look elsewhere. Some see this rumored trade as a bold gamble, others as a desperate move. But one thing's clear, it's reignited passion around the Browns in a way the offseason hadn't yet. The Browns front office might be banking on this hype to energize the fan base and build momentum ahead of what could be a crucial season. On the flip side, questions loom large about the financial aspects of this trade. Tua's contract, his injury history, and the Browns' salary cap situation all add layers of complexity. Sources say the Browns are crunching numbers to ensure they can fit Tua under the cap without compromising other key roster spots. Meanwhile, Miami might be motivated to unload some salary to create flexibility for future signings or draft investments. The financial chess game behind this rumor is as intense as the on-field strategy, with both teams reportedly consulting legal and financial experts to hammer out the details. The Browns know they're risking big, but seem willing to bet that the reward will outweigh the cost if this trade goes through. Training camp dynamics would also get a major shakeup if this trade materializes. Coaches would have to pivot quickly to integrate Tua, tailoring the playbook to maximize his strengths while helping him adjust to a new environment. Meanwhile, veteran players and rookies alike would need to adapt to the shift in leadership on the field. Rumors suggest that team meetings and practice sessions could become electric with competition and fresh energy. There's talk that some Browns players are excited about the possibility, viewing Tua as a spark that could ignite the team's offensive potential. If this move happens, the preseason itself might feel like the start of a whole new chapter for the franchise, setting the tone for a high-stakes season. So where does that leave us now? The trade isn't official, but the buzz around Cleveland and Miami is undeniable. Fans, analysts, and insiders are all on edge, waiting for the next update, the next leak, the next confirmation or denial. Every new report fans the flames of this blockbuster rumor, making it one of the most talked about possible moves this offseason. Will the Browns really pull off this bold move and bring Tua Tagovailoa to Cleveland? Or will it all come crashing down like so many NFL rumors before it? One thing's for sure, the NFL offseason just got a lot more interesting, and this potential trade could be the story that defines it all. Stay tuned because the Browns and Dolphins drama is far from over. Thanks for riding with us on another Browns Blitz. If you liked the video, share it with a fellow fan, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you're always part of the Dawg Pound conversation. Go Browns!